Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and let's get ready for Bayloric TV.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are in the world, my name is Ingram Jones, and I have with me back again world-class trainer Peter Fury. Peter, how are we doing?
Yeah, doing all right. Yeah, not too bad.
I'm sure you know of the interview that Tyson recently did with Rolling Stones magazine, talking about his depression and being on cocaine and being on it for a few months, and basically sounding or seeming that his whole world has come crashing in. When were you aware of this situation?
I wasn't aware of anything until I looked at the interview, to be honest. So, what can I say? There's things in his interview which is correct and things which are not correct. Who knows? The point is, Tyson is in a bad place at the moment, and he's seeking medical help. And he has got very bad manic depressive. So that's what he has got. And the next thing we hear is, with these big these newspapers, whatever they are, doing a one-to-one interview with him. They've not come through his management. They haven't spoke to his promoter, not spoke to me. They've almost like gone through the back door and speaking to a person that's not in his right state of mind. Tyson's my nephew. I've got my nephew's interest 1,000% because his blood runs through my veins. I haven't spoke to Tyson for a few weeks now because since we've realised he's got a problem, I've even given him the space. There's only his direct family. All that Tyson needs at the moment is his brothers, his sisters, his dad, and his wife and his children. Not even me, his uncle, I've spoken to him because I'm giving him the space because I don't want to speak to my nephew because to put him in a difficult situation where he's got to feels like he's got to explain things. My priority for him is to recover mentally properly because he has got issues. When I'm hearing all these interviews going on, well, this particular interview, I don't think it's clever what they've done. They're seeking PR of a not well person. And if he says he's been taking cocaine, then we have to establish that he's been taking it. But I will say this. When you're speaking to a not well person, you don't know what's the truth and what's somebody saying to self-destruct himself. Now, he said in his interview he's done no training whatsoever. That's not correct. He was training up until the day he failed to turn up for a press conference in London. He was training in the David Lloyd Centre, where everybody could see him in the morning with Christian Blacklock, who's from Liverpool, who's a well-known conditioner we used for the first Klitschko fight. So this is not correct what he's saying. So is he basically telling the people what he wants to hear because he thinks he's been slaughtered anyway? He's had a positive result and he's happy to tell people anything? Yeah, I've took loads of it. I don't know. I'm not trying to hide it, what he's done. If he says he's took it, he's took it. I don't know what he does in his personal life, so I ain't trying to defend it because I do not know whether he has taken it, whether he hasn't. All as I do know is he's had a positive test. So that's as much as we do know. So what I don't understand is why everybody's out to interview Tyson Fury when he's not in his right state of mind. And is prepared to say anything. You've heard what he's had to say. I feel like I could kill myself. So is this somebody that's, whoever's interviewing him on the other end of the line, are they not thinking to themselves, should I really be interviewing this guy?
Well, there's a lot of things I could say, but I think I'll hold my peace on this one for the moment. The stories about the cocaine. Now, it was puzzling for me because there seems to be a disconnect. You haven't seen him for months. This seems to have been happening for a while. Yet,
Why have I not seen him for months? Who are you hearing this from? I said I've not spoke to him for 2 weeks.
That's interesting.
He's been in the gym. So how long is it since he never turned up for the press conference in London? How long was that? It's only weeks ago, isn't it?
But according to the reports, he'd been doing this for months.
Well, he hasn't.
Well, that's the strange thing, because online you could see lots of pictures of Tyson training, getting himself in shape. But then there were other pictures coming out of Tyson looking out of shape and looking the worse for wear, going into I think it was into his Jeep, in fact, or coming out of his Jeep. And they were saying that's the reason why Tyson's not turned up to the fight, because he's not in shape. So where were these pictures coming from?
Yeah, they're probably his latest pictures after the press conference, because he came back in the gym, he was training, he has been up and down where he's been saying I've got no interest in boxing, and this and that. So, but he has been in the gym, he's been training. He had, I think he come back into the gym with 8 weeks left, 8 or 9 weeks to get ready, and he was only, I think, 22 pounds over the limit, over his fight weight. So it wasn't a problem getting him back in. Like I've just said, he was training with Christian in the David Lloyd Centre every morning, and he was coming to me in the evening. So, he was on track. He was on track right up until the night before the press conference. Well, okay. And he was supposed to turn up to that, and he just went AWOL.
The other thing I've got to ask is, not even ask, the stories are, or people would suggest that, well, Tyson's kind of done this because he knows he's going to get done by UCAD, he's going to get done by VADA, he's going to get done by all these people. That's why he's kind of flipped out, and that's why he's got all these issues suddenly.
Well, I don't agree with that, because the thing is, what you have to look at, UCAD is ongoing. He's got a very good case. Maybe the pressure from having the allegations thrown at him has helped along the way to push him even further over the edge. That's for professional people to determine. But as far as doing anything for a specific reason, because he wants to duck out of a fight or he wants to duck out of some charges, he's not ducking out of any charges. Unless he's dead in a box and buried 6 foot under the ground, he's got to face the charges. So it's all stupidity talk, isn't it?
Good. Glad you've cleared that up. In terms of the possibility now of his the license being revoked by the British Boxing Board of Control because of the admitting to cocaine, the Twitter posts, stories of, well, the British Boxing Board of Control would not like to see their fighters seen in that sort of light, sort of promoting the cocaine.
I can understand everything that goes on. Look, I don't care for anybody that takes cocaine up the nose. I train people to do the very best. Tyson, this is all bizarre news to me, because that's the least thing. I would have never dreamed in 1 million years he'd be taking anything like that. So I don't know if he has. He's denied it to his dad. He's denied it to all of his family. We said, why did you say it? He said, well, I just said it because they all believe it anyway. But I'm not trying to say this to you to convince you anything. I don't know. So I don't live with him. I don't know. Maybe he's being totally sincere in his interview and he just doesn't want to tell his family. So, but it's going to come out anyway. Maybe it's his way of releasing it to us. Your guess is as good as mine. But what I can say is this interview has been taken where somebody is not in his right state of mind. Right. And even the Boxing Board of Control, they're taking it on board. But they should also take a step back, because they're professional people, and have a look at it and say, would anybody in their right phrase of mind go on national world radio and condemn their own self if they're in the right state of mind?
That's a good question.
Why would you do that?
Well, you wouldn't if you're in your right state of mind. You wouldn't.
Tyson at the moment is seeking proper medical psychiatric help. So this is a guy that's fell in a very, very bad place. So why is look at the stories that's coming out. Instead of giving Tyson the help he needs and the support, he gets ripped to shreds. Even when he's got serious medical problems, he's being ripped to shreds. But I understand that from Joe Public because they don't know him. But the Boxing Board of Control, look, I don't like Tyson's comments. I don't like the interview. I definitely don't like the things he said. Boxing has saved Tyson's life. Tyson was nothing without the boxing. He come from nothing. He had no money, he had nothing. Boxing has made his whole life. This is a guy that loves to fight. He loves to box. His life's in boxing. You know, it's crippling the sport that's made you. You know, boxing, to me, forget all the politics. Forget all the dickheads in the back of it. That's irrelevant. Boxing is a beautiful man-to-man sport. It's one-on-one. It is a sport to be highlighted, recognised. I understand the Boxing Board of Control. I understand them saying X, Y, Z because I wouldn't like it. I don't like it myself. Boxing shouldn't be brought into disrepute, but when you've got somebody who's not in a mental state being interviewed, that's gone behind everybody's back, gone behind all of his management and everything to get this interview of somebody that's not in the right state of mind, it's another matter altogether. And the Boxing Board need to look at it. They need to, before they make decisions about suspensions, this and that, they need to see a psychology report. They need to see psychiatric reports before they make stupid, rash decisions, because they're almost taking viable decisions of somebody who's giving interviews that's not well, not in his right state of mind. So even they are overstepping the mark. But are they overstepping the mark because of public pressure? That's all it will be. But they need to sit back and really have a look at the real underlying issues here. Is Tyson deliberately saying things to self-destruct himself even further because that's the way he feels? I'm giving people what they want. This is what they think of me. They hate me. Here, you have that. You have this. That's where he's at the moment. So it's hardly wise for people to take deadly serious what he says when he's unwell. That's not to say he's not telling the truth or he's telling lies. I do not know. So you've got to make your own mind up.
Would you suggest, or could it be suggested, in fact, that Tyson's been badly advised, A, by doing the interview, 1, 2, and some of the people he's got around him at the moment that are advising him?
Well, I want to know, if he is being advised by anyone, I want to know who was there from the beginning. Always the same, isn't it? You know, you had Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson had Bill Caton and he had another guy, Jim Jacobs. Mm-hmm. They brought him on, he had his trainer, he went from strength to strength, he went through the world. As soon as other politics come in, as soon as people backstabbed, as soon as people got this, everybody can do things better, everybody was in his ear, look where Mike Tyson ended up. Now, I don't know who Tyson socializes with, but if anybody listening to this interview, if they've been with my nephew and they've been doing that, helping him along, getting drunk every other day, as he claims, sniffing cocaine, as he claims himself, then people need to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I am no friend of Tyson Fury. What I am is a complete tosser, helping a world champion to destruct himself when he's not well. And if anybody comes near me, the mood I'm in, anybody comes near me who's been doing that, won't get off the car park. Because I'm not amused with anybody that, if that is the case, assisting him to do stupid things like that. When somebody's not well, you say, oh, hang on a minute. If somebody's got their interest at heart, they would never, ever be in somebody's company and let them do that, would they?
No.
So there's your answer. So he's got no friends in the bottom line is. He's got no friends. He's only got his family who's helped him from day dot, helped him to get where he is. He's an exceptional talent, Tyson. He's a lovely young man as well. You know, I feel heartily sorry for him. You couldn't wish for a nicer fella. He'd do anything for you as well. But obviously, depression, you know, listen, I don't understand it. I probably suffer with depression myself. I'm up and down like a yo-yo, but I get up every morning and get on with it. But like I said, I don't really understand the mechanicisms of it. So that's for professional people. But at least Tyson now realises he needs help. He's getting help. And, you know, I just hope to God that people leave this lad alone. He's still just 28 years of age. You know, it's a big ask. He's lived in the gym for 6 years with me, day in, day out. He's worked harder than anyone. Where he says I've not been respected, this and that, with the amount of work that's gone in the dedication, he feels that. Now, for me, as a rational person looking at all of this, I wouldn't really care what some small majority, what people thought of me. I'm the world heavyweight champion. I've done what nobody else could dream about doing. I've won. I am the man. I would not care a flying whatever, what some majority thinks, some armchair fool that's never set a set of gloves on in his life. I'm not interested in politics where people's vying for their own ends. I'm looking at, I'm a world champion. But that's somebody rational thinking. When you're a little bit on the depressive side, then I suppose anything can trigger off. And it's just, I think with all of the negativity he's seen, it's just gone from bad to worse. And, saying things in jest like he does. He's a very jokey type of a guy. As soon as he's a world champion, everything he said was like nailed to the mast. So it's a lot for him to deal with being a world champion. But is there any lasting effects of it? I believe not. I think he'll, after the treatment, after a long rest, I think he'll be back and firing on all cylinders. And early next year, he'll be back in the gym after Christmas, and he'll be training, and hopefully he'll resume his career. And this is what happens. And maybe in the near future, Tyson can give a one-on-one interview and tell the world exactly what did happen and what he's had to go through and everything else.
The retirement, constantly hearing it with Tyson. I've retired. I'm not retired. I'm retired. I'm not retired. He did it on the Twitter as well. How do you train a fighter that is constantly talking about not wanting to be in the sport? Does that not give alarm bells that their heart might not be in the sport the way it should be?
Well, I don't get that. Don't get me wrong. He's not been in the gym and he's clearly unwell. This is why the fight's been cancelled. He's clearly not in a good place. So you're absolutely right. You can't train people that's not in the right state of mind, who's showing zero interest. So the fight is off, to the answer to your question, and you're absolutely right. But all times previous, when he's been with me and he's been in the gym, he's trained like a Trojan. So,
and that's shown.
It's shown because of where he's got to. So you're not gonna get a guy in the gym, are you? That's half-hearted. That's going to get in and do a boxing lesson to Vladimir Klitschko. So there's your answer.
Okay, the Twitter account, and this will be the final thing about the whole Twitter thing. In terms of management of Team Fury, and you are the boss, the head honcho, would you admit that maybe mistakes were made, or is Tyson a loose cannon that you can't control, or are you saying, well, he's a grown man, he can do what he likes? Should you have had somebody with PR experience in, maybe curb Tyson, the things he said? Where do you stand in all of that?
I stand in all of this because I will only speak once.
Okay.
I will give the correct advice, and if they don't want to take it, then I can't make them take it. He is a grown man, he's a married man, and he says it's his life, he will do whatever he wants. That's okay. I will advise the best I can, but then when they want to act against your advice, hence the result, what happens? It's catastrophe, because I'm not 48 and gone through a lifetime of hell for nothing. It's experience, isn't it? So you pass on the right advice. He's been offered PR agents, Mick, we've all done our very best for Tyson, and Tyson knows that himself. He's got the best team on the planet because it's family. It's not about money. It's about putting him first. So, he has got a team second to none. So, he has the best advice. He's just chose not to take it most of the time. And this is why the problems has erupted. But I put it down to a steady decline in his health and his depressive state. It was always there in the background. He was always saying, he come in the training camps, I'm so happy I'm back training. Because when I leave the gym, after 3 or 4 days, I'm so sick, he said. He said, I just don't know what to do with myself. I get fed up very easy. So maybe the symptoms was already there. So I think he could have escalated, and obviously he's won the title. He's probably found some new friends or whatever. You know, the usual thing. He's a young man. Everybody will be around him. Tyson. You know, I bet Tyson pays the bills everywhere he goes. Everybody banging on his shirt tail. You know,
Absolutely.
This is the way it is. But what do you think I'm going to do at 48? You think I'm going to run around trying to dictate to it? Everybody's going to do what they're going to do. I remember my father, I'll go back. I was 26. And he said to me, "You've got 5 children." He says, "You can't go up and down here," he says, "and do what you're doing." He says, "You're either going to get shot stone dead or you're going to do a long time in prison." That went straight from one ear and out the other. That was the best advice I was ever going to get. 10 years later, when I'd done the time, 9 years solid, yeah, I thought to myself, why did I not listen to my old fellow when I was in there? Why did I not listen to him? It just didn't register at the time. So we can all speak after the event. You know, he's got where he's got. Look, it's not ideal what's happened. It's a disaster what's gone on here. It's a total disaster. It's almost like his head's fell off. You know, all this stuff I'm hearing about drugs and everything. You know, this is somebody that's self-imploding. It's almost like he's put a grenade in his pocket and blew his arms and legs off. So it's totally beyond the score of 1 to 100 as being off the Richter scale of being ridiculous what's gone on. The self-destruction of a heavyweight champion of the world can only be down to one thing. He's not in a good state of mind, and people need to bear that in mind when he does these erratic, off-the-cuff, stupid interviews that, you know, are self-condemning to the max.
The signs. If I go back into the history of Tyson and Fury, of course you'd know it better than me, but I'm sure there were issues of Tyson having depression way back. Maybe around, I remember it first coming out, maybe before the Johnson fight, and even before then he was talking about the depression that came out and not being up for fights and having mood swings and saying he didn't, you know, 1 minute he feels one way, next minute he feels somewhere else. You know,
it's been, you're right. It's been well documented in the past. He spoke about it, as I touched on earlier on.
Yeah,
he has spoke about it.
So why wasn't that nipped in the bud back then? I mean, if the signs were there, and it was, I don't know, everyone can be smart after the event, but why was not something being addressed there? Why is it not saying, "Oh, this is not quite right, Tyson. Maybe you need to get some help"? Well,
look, I'm not a psychiatrist. You know, I can only relate to what I've done in my own life and pass it on. Yeah. You know, I've gone through hell and back, so I haven't been anywhere. I just don't understand the mental side of things. So basically, I'm thinking to myself, it's just daily life. You know, get on with it. Yeah. You know, I'm one of these, forget all that crap. I'm not interested. Get on with the training. Let's do what we've got to do. This is all bullshit to me. Mm-hmm. So basically, maybe I'll take some of the responsibility as well, because I've not seen it. All I've seen is a perfect young man in the gym who's done everything I've ever asked of him. There's never been a problem. But he has. That's what he said when he's always been out the gym. You know, even his wife Paris said, she said, "Peter, when he's in the gym, he's a different man when he's training." She said, when he's not training, he's like a headless chicken. He's all over the place. So it gives you an idea. I just think since he's won the championship, maybe he felt he wasn't rewarded and respected as much for his achievements, which I put some of it down to his mental state again. Mm-hmm. You know, because like I said, somebody that's functioning properly wouldn't give a shit when they've just beat a 10, 11 years linear champion, would you? And you're the number one linear champion in the world. You are the Ring Magazine world champion. I'd really give a shit what some idiot says.
You wouldn't.
So there you are. So there's a lot of stuff that's not making head nor tail of anything to me. So, but I'm not covering up for Tyson. Tyson said in his interview, because he's been so depressed, he's been drinking. He has been drinking. I know he's been drinking. So, you know, has he been taking the cocaine as well? He says he has, and he tested positive. So we have to assume he has. But I don't really know if what he's saying is all the truth there, because he's telling his family he hasn't. And like I said, this is somebody who's on a self-destruct mission. So I don't. The fact is, he said he has. So we must assume he has. But for me, the jury's out on it because I just don't know.
When I've pushed you before to answer questions about Tyson, I know you've been quite wary. Is that simply because it's for Tyson to answer? You're protecting Tyson, or what is it? When I've tried to push before and find out, because there was meant to be a full statement that was meant to come out from yourself, but people keep asking me.
Well, it wasn't to come out from myself; it was to come out from the team. But it's what it is. Tyson is going through depression, which everybody knows anyway.
Yes.
So there's no big dramas to put out in the statement. It's out anyway. It's clear. He's seeking treatment. And he's not in his right state of mind at the moment. And, people need to give this lad the space, and get off his back and stop applying for these interviews. Look, me and Mick Hennessy could do interviews for him all day long. There's been money offered for him and everything. We're not interested in him doing any interviews. How can he do an interview when he's like that? He's self. He's in a low place at the moment. So how can anybody interview? When you're not well, you shouldn't be interviewed. So I'm not happy with the people who's interviewed him because as soon as he started talking, he should have realised where he's at. Mm-hmm. They know he's got medical conditions anyway before they did that interview. Mm-hmm. So why are they going behind everybody's back and taking an interview which is totally self-damning for himself? That can't be doing Tyson any good when he sits back, has a realisation and reads that back. And what comments from people are doing because of that. It's all not helping his situation, is it?
It's not even the return of Tyson Fury. How does this going to affect his profile? I mean, how does he come back from this? The rehabilitation. Okay, he gets his mind right. He's ready to fight again. But there's going to be this thing. Well, who's a cocaine user? He was a this. He's a that. How does Team Fury get over that?
For me, it's not a case of getting over anything. It's a case of, Tyson needs to come full on with his demons, whatever's going on, and get a realisation. He will soon realise that, let's say if he has, and that's if, because I don't know if he has or not. I don't live with him. I see him in the gym. He trains. He talks to me now and again on the phone. That's it. I've got no idea. I don't even know who he socialises with. So I don't know what his private life is outside of boxing. So I have no idea. When I've got wind of this, when I've seen the interview the same as you, so has Mick Hennessy. We've got no idea about these comments he's made, whether they're true, whether they're false or whatever. So we just don't know.
Well, okay, let's move forward and let's kind of put this to one side. The WBO, I understand Parker and Ruiz are going to be fighting for the WBO title. What's the situation with Tyson's WBO belt?
I don't really know. I think submissions has gone in, and I think Mick Hennessy, I know Frank Warren as well. I think they're dealing with it, and it's up to the governing bodies. It's up to the governing bodies. There's a boxing board of control as well to take into account. Whatever they're going to do, they're going to do. It's not for me to say what's going to happen because I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. This is not a situation that I'm used to. I've never been involved in a situation like this ever. So I just don't understand what's really going to go on. What I do know is that people shouldn't be taking something to the bank when somebody is not well in a right state of mind and not well.
Okay. Let's talk about Hughie. I know you made a statement December the 10th. There's a fight he's going to be a part of. World title fight next year. Talk to us about December the 10th and Hughie Fury.
I think, training's going on as normal. We're just getting on with life, just to close on Tyson. Mm-hmm. I'm very happy he's getting the treatment he needs. And I'm just looking forward for him to get back to normal. Whether he fights or not is irrelevant. I believe he will. I think it's a short blip in his career. And let's just see what happens with him. Yep. As far as Hughie goes, we tried to make Ruiz Jr. They agreed to the fight. Then they pulled out the fight. So we've tried to make various fights for Hughie, and for one reason or another, they fell through. You know, we had the saga with Eddie and Joshua. We told you the reasons behind that. We beg to differ with Eddie Hearn. You know, the money was nowhere near enough, not for what it is. You know, if Joshua was getting no money and Hughie was getting no money, then we'll take the fight. But the way it was all lopsided, you know, we seen it on a different scale to them. But anyway, that never happened. So I don't know where we're going to get with Hughie or whatever. What I'm looking at with Hughie, he's 22 years of age. He's over all of his illnesses, and he is coming on very, very well in the gym. He's learning new stuff, and you know, I'm just happy to just sit back, if you like, and let all these squabble for the belts if they come up, which they probably will do now. So you know, just take a back seat, see what happens, keep Hughie busy. And, you know, he's ready. He's 1 or 2 fights max away from a world title anyway. So let's just see. You know, but I can't say there's going to be a big name for the 10th of December because probably there won't be. Because, like you said, if you got Ruiz v. Parker, you know, there's... who else is there? You know, there's going to be Klitschko wanting to fight for probably the WBA belt or whatever. Mm-hmm. So where does Hughie stand anyway? He's number 5 with the WBO.
What about this whole thing about Shannon Briggs? Can you clear that up for us?
I think it'd be a decent fight for Hughie, but whether Shannon Briggs wants it or whether he sees himself as wanting too much money, I don't know. I've not approached him. I just put it in my mind overnight time. I've looked at Shannon Briggs, the way he speaks. You know, the guy's very humorous. I think to myself, yeah, that'd be a good fight for Hughie. So that's all I've done about it. I've not contacted Briggs. We've not done anything. But it's a fight that would appeal to me because I will sit down on my armchair and I'll have a look. I just seen his picture and I thought, yeah, he'd be all right for Hughie, wouldn't he? And I've just pressed on it. So that's as much as I've done about it. You know, if that fight happened, it'd be good. It'd be a good fight. I'd like to see it.
Yes. You kind of remind me now of people do this a lot on Twitter between put 2 fighters and, you know, oh, you should fight him and you should fight him. And next minute you've got 2 fighters squabbling over it. And then the fight's been made. So, yes.
Yeah. Hughie's a fabulous talent. He's, you know, I think it's a case of when he'll lift a world championship. I don't say he's going to fight for a world championship and win it. You just don't know. You're fighting for a world title. You know, there's some good heavyweights out there, and you don't fight for world champions with dummies. So he's got it all to do. I believe he'll be a phenomenal champion, and I think it's just a matter of time for Hughie when he'll have a breakthrough fight, and then people will realise, oh, hang on a minute, we didn't think he was capable of this. We didn't think he was capable of that. But let's not forget. Hughie's had 20 fights. He's fought as good as opposition as any up-and-coming heavyweight anyway out there, no matter what they say. You know, he haven't fought any better opponents than Hughie through his career. So, and you know, and he's dealt with these being mainly of a young lad because he's the youngest heavyweight by far in world boxing today to be where he is. Number 1, and number 2, he's been battling with illnesses as well. So, like I said, you know, he had an operation on his nose about 5 weeks ago because he couldn't breathe through his nose either. One of his nostrils was totally blocked, and it's been like that for years, ever since he turned professional.
Wow!
Because when you sit at the side of him in a vehicle, you can hear just completely wheezing like somebody's got asthma. Yeah. So where he can't breathe. So all of this was clogging up during rounds, and so he's had that fixed. His breathing's perfect. He's off all the medication now for the stuff on his body, all the broken sores on his body, with the inflammation and everything else. All that's fixed, and he's just eating good, solid food, and he's responding very well. So it's all systems go for you. Yeah, I think he's going to surprise a lot of people.
I don't know how to phrase this question about Hughie, but in terms of Tyson's misfortune and what's been going on with him, he's been world champion. He's had some fantastic sparring, and I'm sure Hughie's benefit from that. How much has Hughie learnt from what Tyson's done, and how much is he going to apply that to his own trade?
I think he's learned. Fabio's he's learned a lot from his older cousin because he's been in the gym with Tyson and he looks up to Tyson. You know, he always has done. So, you know, it's family, isn't it? So he's took on board what Tyson's doing and he does his own thing. They're two different individuals, but you know, they both got styles where you know they're good at avoiding punches and landing punches. So they're good technicians, but just different styles. So Tyson's where he is because obviously he started his career 5 or 6 years before Hughie turned professional. So he's Tyson's rightfully where he is, and Hughie's up and coming. But Hughie's almost there. He's like I said, once we get him in a big fight and he performs well, you know, then people will think, hang on a minute, we believe in this guy. Then you know, public perception can turn overnight, can't it? So we're happy for Hughie to be in the to be out of the spotlight, because he's just waiting for his opportunity, and when he gets that opportunity, he'll be taking it.
I saw an interview again with Tyson Fury, and he was talking about Hughie Fury and how Hughie beats him up in sparring and stuff. And he made this comment, and I remember talking to you about it, saying, well, Peter said that would never happen. And Tyson said, you watch, Hughie will become world champion, and me and Hughie will fight. You watch, me and Hughie will fight, and I don't mind getting beat by Hughie, because at least it's family. So Hughie Fury, Tyson Fury, really?
Yeah, that's just, again, with Tyson, you don't know what's the truth. Same as in interview there the other day, you know, talks a lot of shit. So, listen, you know, Hughie beats Tyson up in sparring. Them two, are the worst to see in sparring I've ever seen. It's almost like, you know, I'm going to put a punch over, but I don't want it to land. You know, I don't even let them spar anymore. How's that?
I know you said it before.
It's like the big brother doesn't want to hit the little brother. It's that syndrome. And I said to him, can you please just take away whatever personal things you've got? I said, can we spar, please? I said, because we're here, I said, to do boxing. But still no good because they look at each other and they've got something else going on. So basically, I don't spar them anymore. It just causes arguments. So that's that's where we are with that one. So no, they will never be fighting, and no, there's definitely no beating up in sparring. It's a matter of fact, if they throw a punch at each other, it'd be nice.
So yeah, okay, right, okay. Because I remember when I first interviewed Tyson, I spoke to him. I said to him, "Can you tell me the truth about your amateur and pro, how you turn from amateur to pro and the problems with it?" And he said to me, "Oh, do you want me to give you some bollocks, or do you want me to tell you the truth?" I said, "I'd rather the truth, Tyson. I appreciate that." And then he told me the truth. So Tyson has got a reputation of saying one thing out of his ear and another thing out of his mouth. So I mean, you know, I think some of the things Tyson says you certainly got to take with a pinch of salt. That's something I've certainly gathered over the years.
I think Tyson, look, he's fabulous for boxing. You know, I think he has a lot of support out there as well. He's a very, very good speaker. He lights up the division. So he's a breath of fresh air to it. I think it's very unfortunate, the recent things with him and what he's having to go through in public as well. Yeah. He's at a bad place, and look, he'll come back. The good thing with all of this, he's got no skeletons in the closet. That's so, right. You know, people know what they're dealing with. Tyson's a normal human being. What you see is what you get with him. So sometimes he oversteps the mark. And but I just think it's a learning curve with him. I think as time goes on and he realises and the penny drops properly, then he'll be okay. Because like I said, at the moment I'm not looking at anything he says with a pinch of salt anyway. Because like I said, he's in a very bad place. And when he's saying on interview, I want to kill myself and stuff like this, I really want to die today. You know, how can you really take on board what somebody's saying?
Finally, and I have to pass the message on, my Twitter page is literally filled with Tyson Fury well wishes and people inboxing me, saying to me, wish him well, pass the message on to Peter, hope Tyson gets well soon, ignore the haters, talking about mental health and the importance of treating mental health and the seriousness of it. So there are a lot of well wishes to Tyson. I just wanted.
I know there's a lot of well wishers out there. I know there's a lot of good people out there, and the vast majority of the public know what he must be going through. So I just I'd respect if people could leave him be. Refrain from trying to do any interviews. It gives you an idea. I got a call the other day. Me and Mick was having a discussion about it, and somebody was trying to say, look, if you lose your belts, we can get you, massive fights over here in Las Vegas and all this. This is just complete gutter tricks to try and talk to a young man in not his right mental state. So it gives you an idea that there's, the piranha fish will circle when they see anything like looks remotely like a weakness. So rather than leaving people be and let them recover in private and giving them the space and time they need, they're putting ludicrous deals to somebody. It doesn't mean anything. So these people really need to have a look at themselves.
Absolutely.
and think, what are we about here? But that's the world we live in.
On a closing note, Ian Lewison and Dillian Whyte are fighting, a little punch-up they're having up in Glasgow this weekend. What are your thoughts on that fight?
Dillian Whyte, I like Dillian Whyte. I think he has got talent. I think he'll be too much for the other guy. I think his boxing ability will tell. And I think as soon as Ian Lewison can't land them shots, I think it'll be over. I think Dillian Whyte will take over. But he's in no rush, Dillian. He's learning his job well. Like I said, the only criticism I've had with Dillian was when he took the Joshua fight. He had enough time to prepare. And, he didn't prepare because, he wasn't physically ready. Looking at his condition, he wasn't there. So for such a big fight for him as well. So it's but they've only got themselves to blame. But on talent, he's got a good jab. He moves well, and he's he's growing up, Dillian. He's getting mature as a fighter as well. He's thinking more. So he's coming through. So I pick him to win that fight.
Peter Fury, is there anything else you'd like to say before we close?
We can talk about politics. We can talk about the weather.
We better not go into politics, Peter.
I'll tell you what. We've touched on boxing. We've talked about mental health. We've talked about whatever. I don't know what we're going to be speaking about in the future.
Well, we never know with these interviews, Peter. We certainly know that the world are watching.
I just everything will always work out. Look, we don't know what tomorrow brings, but as long as everybody's okay, that's the main thing. Boxing's a sport. It's a beautiful sport. I do it with a passion. I love boxing. I love everything about it. Politics is another matter, but that's business. Business and boxing, that's different. The boxing are the men that get in the ring. They're the ones to be admired. The politics is at the back. There ain't many good people in business when you're dealing with lots of money, is there? No. But we've got a good team around us. We've got a loyal team. There's, like I said, we've got Mick, there's Frank, there's Bill Ives, everybody's on the phone. They're all trying to see where Tyson's at. Everybody's only give good advice here. So, everybody's doing the best, and we're looking forward. I'm looking forward to getting this year out the way, getting rid of all these allegations as well. The UCAD stuff, drawing a line under that. And just looking forward to getting into next year now. It's been a terrible year, to be honest. And I'm not going to say it hasn't, because it has. There's been plenty of downsides, and it has been a horrible year for us. But look, life is about ups and downs. It's how you take the downs that shows the quality of the person. So for me, it's another day at the office. Good times, bad times, is what it is. This is why when we won the world title, people said to me, well, you ain't no different, because I know what can happen around the corner. I'm an experienced man. I'm grounded. I know where my feet's on the floor. But this is only learned through years of experience. Young men make mistakes, and young men need to be looked at in that light. they're not all perfect wannabe key in the backs. You know, Tyson Fury, whatever he is, he's been a breath of fresh air to boxing, and a lot of people love the way he is. They love his moves or what he does. Just unfortunate that things have got on top of him. But I'm sure, look, depression is not a mental illness where he's gone doolally round the bend. It's just where he's gone fed up and he's lost all value in himself. And he, you know, when you're like that, you know, it's negativity personified. So he'll say anything he can think of to destruct himself, he will speak it out because he thinks that's what people think of him anyway. So he's only telling them what he thinks they want to hear. And he's happy to do that because that's it. My life's over. I want to kill myself. Do and think of me what you will. So he will, once he realises what he has got, the ability he's got, the people around him, the faith, the admiration he really has got, his family, you know, things will come around. We all hit bad times. We've all had them sometime or another. Unfortunately for him, he's a world champion, so everybody gets to know about it. So that's as much as I can say on it, Ingle.
Peter, thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV. We really appreciate you and your time.
No problem. Anytime.
Take care.
And watch out for Con Sheehan, because this kid...
Oh, my... How can we not talk about Con Sheehan? Oh, my God.
That's wrong with you, Ingle.
Con, yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Con. So, talk to us about Con very quickly. Oh, my God. I've got Con on the show tonight as well. That's probably why.
Right. Brilliant kid, you know, lovely character. You know, really loves the fight game. You know, he soaks it up like a sponge. He listens. He tries. You know, this is a talented young man, and he's learning on the job. What I was very impressed with in his first fight, he was in a zone like he had a mask on. I was talking to him in the corner. He wasn't listening. He went in overdrive. He was somewhere else. So this was down to probably nerves, trying to do over well, thinking about it too much. But and he's done a lot of things right in that. You know, he had a bad right hand and he played with a guy with just one hand. Yeah, you know, he just jabbed and hooked him to death. But over 4 rounds. But there was a lot of things he wasn't listening. Now in this fight, we spoke about where he went wrong and the things he did. And in this fight, you know, he was a lot more relaxed. And he went in, and even as the fight was going on, with it being a small arena, he could hear everything I was saying. So as I was talking to him, he was responding straight away. So he was constantly listening to his instructions, and he made a total easy night of it because he is a very talented lad. But I'm very happy with him, and he's got a big future. I think he's going to be flying the flag for Ireland. I think they'll be very proud of this young man.
Absolutely.
Because he's achieved major things in the amateurs, and he's about to achieve major things in the pros. And MGM, they're with him as well. They signed him up, so they believe heavy in him. Me and Johnny Roy, we speak about him all the time. So you know, they're very happy to have him on board. So it's a good team he's got. So he's got probably one of the best teams in the world. So it's he's in a very good place. He's training well. He's getting regular fights, and you know, look, 3 or 4 fights, Irish title.
Yes,
you know,
I'd like to say that.
You don't hear of it, but he is being fast tracked because he's capable. So hopefully we get him past the Irish title. I'm looking at Con to probably be in the top 15. Certainly around the 12-month mark, and next year in 2017, by the end, he should be tipping top 15, something like that, in the world, which will be a major statement for him.
Yes.
So and the year after that, you know, there's no reason why he can't fight for a world title as well. He's definitely world class material. So you're going to see him and see big things of him, because he will go. All he's got to do is do what he's doing now. He's listening, and he's doing everything right. He's putting the work in. He's a dedicated fellow, so he deserves what he gets. So, like I said, when people become world champions, it's because they're not just good fighters. They've got the right mental state of mind as well, and genuinely very nice people. So it's easy to work with good people, isn't it? But I tip him for big things.
Con Sheehan also said that he said you and Virgil Hunter are very similar in styles and working together. He says when he does something right, it's cool, but if he gets it wrong, you're right on him, just like Virgil Hunter.
Yeah, because again, there's no point blowing smoke up somebody's ass, is there, if it's wrong? Look, it's not for me to believe it's wrong, because then I'd be a guessing novice. I know when something's wrong, because everybody's good at what they do. You're either gifted at something or not. I can shut my eyes and tell you if somebody can fight or not. So it's just what's in you and what you see. So I know the mistakes there. I look at things 5 or 6 punches ahead. So I'm not really looking at what they're doing there. I'm looking at what can happen from it. So all these things, and a lot of trainers, this is probably the same. You evaluate everything and they have to get it right. But the main thing is there's a lot of things involved. They work on the defence, they work on relaxing, pacing the round, when to put the pressure, when to take it off. All these things need to be worked on. And controlling the other fighter as well. It's not just what you do, it's what you make the other guy do by what you're doing, if that makes sense.
That makes plenty of sense for somebody who has done some boxing before. For somebody who hasn't, wouldn't know a clue what you're talking about.
Okay, well, basically, it's a lot of hard work.
It's a lot of hard work. It's not about just getting in there and throwing some punches, as like some people believe.
No, it's not. It's all about, when you're dealing with somebody that had a lot of amateur fights as well.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that's got to change. A lot of the fighters, it's quick shots. They're in and out in straight lines. Well, they have to relax. They have to get the upper body relaxed, moving with the legs. There's so much involved. It's all about
transition.
If you can, it's not only about transition, but to be a world class fighter, everything's got to flow like a running stream. It's got to be smooth and easy, because if you're in total control of what you're doing, and you've mastered your job and you know what you're doing in that ring, then nothing can really ruffle your feathers unless somebody's on the same level as you. But that's the phrase of mine that they have to work for. They have to work for perfection, and that's what we try and work for. As I know, boxing in the ring's got nothing to do with running water, but I'm trying to just give you a scenario.
Of course. You're on form tonight, Peter. You're in real form tonight, you are.
I'm a boxing fanatic, probably, a nutcase.
Well, tonight you're in real form. Usually you give us little tidbits here and there, but tonight you're in real form.
Well, it's good. I like to give the fans to see an inside knowledge of what goes on, what you need from the fighter. But ultimately, you put your life in the fighter. So you're in the ring with them doing it. So that's it. To get the best out of them, you've got to be involved in it on that kind of level. So, but you've got to enjoy it. You've got to enjoy the person, and it's not. It isn't about money. Comes with fame anyway. Success needs rewarding. So that's a side issue. The challenge, though, and getting people up there, is a great gift, because you're turning young men's lives around. To come from zero to hero is a major thing. It's life changing for everybody. So boxing is a beautiful sport. I don't know. I think all sports on a major level is like this, but boxing for me, it does that, because you have to be a special kind of character to get up there and be a world champion.
While we're on the subject, fight's been stopped early. The Kell-Brook fight with Golovkin, and I was in defence of Dominic Ingle, and a lot of people gave me stick for that. And I said, well, look at what happened to Nick Blackwell. And then less than 3 weeks afterwards, we've had the situation with Mike Towell and his passing. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I did tweet out about this young fellow that passed away. They never realise, it's a young life that's altered. But God only knows his family. What they must be going through is horrific, to suddenly have that loss like that. So thoughts go out to the family for sure. It's a terrible thing. But I think the only solace they can get from it is because he was a proud fighting man. You know, when these lads get in the ring, this is their job. That's what they love to do. You know, look, I've got Tyson, who's my nephew, and I've got my son. But, you know, God forbid, anything happens to them in the ring, I'm not going to start saying, oh, I wish I never done this, wish I never done that. I love boxing. You know, they love boxing. They know the risks. You know, there's many ways can happen. If something happens and they die in the ring, that's their profession. This is what they go against. So we do everything we can for that not to happen. They got the best of facilities, but you know, it's like a plane crash, isn't it? You know, sometimes things go wrong, and it's the same. It's all about percentages, and unfortunately, people, you know, it's the same as people winning the lottery, isn't it? It's nothing is foolproof in life, is it? Anything can go wrong. You can get run over, go into for a loaf of bread to the shop. So this is where we are. But as far as early stoppages, I'm not really a fan of early stoppages. I've got to be honest. What Dominic Ingle done was the right decision for Kell Brook, because he could see that Golovkin, he's a dangerous puncher, and he was just stepping it up and stepping it up and stepping it up, and he had the bit between his teeth, and he was looking to annihilate Kell Brook. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Kell Brook wasn't finished. He was going to throw shots back, and you know what could have happened if he'd have just bit the bullet and threw dead hard shots, which he probably intended to do. You just don't know. I've seen fights in the past like that and be turned around.
Exactly. I've seen many.
So, yeah.
Gatti Ward is one example.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm not light-hearted myself. You know, okay, me cheekbone. It's a bone, isn't it? I don't give a shit about a cheekbone. You know, I've had my face broken. I've been hit with a bat in the past. You know, you recover, don't you? Listen, if you can get a punch and die from it. You know, you can be hit with a baseball bat and live from it. So, like I said, you know, for me, you're in there, you're fighting for a world title. I will give every chance under the sun. I won't be stopping anything, you know, unless they're getting beat to death, which I didn't see Kell Brook getting beat to death. He was losing it, but he was in it at the same time. So, I don't know. Me personally, I'd let it go on a little bit longer. But, because look, he could have always hit the deck on one knee and then he could have pulled him out then. But he was still on his feet, wasn't he? And he was he didn't look like he was badly in trouble.
He was absorbing all the shots, which was
yeah, and he did look like he was retaliating. And you know, in these type of fights, you never know. Can you imagine where Kell Brook would have been if he'd have threw a combination and he'd have wobbled Golovkin and he'd have had him down or something?
Nobody knows now, do they?
Nobody knows, but these are opportunities that could well be, but they're lost, aren't they?
Yeah.
But like I said, I understand it. Dominic Ingle is his fighter. On the face of it, he done the right thing. So I'm only telling you my personal view. But Dominic is an excellent trainer. He's a nice guy as well. So he's done he's done the best for his fighter. And Kell Brook there's always this as well, isn't there? Kell Brook can always live to fight another day. He's not seriously damaged, is he?
All right. Live to fight another day. It seems to me a model at the moment that, okay, you're not good enough. Here's an example. I'm not going to use the Kell Brook situation. You're not good enough, but we're going to stick you in a world title shot or a world title fight. And even if you get smashed to bits, don't worry, you can come again. Is that not? Is it the whole situation of, well, it's just a taking part that counts? Is that lowering of standards there, or is that just a model that's acceptable today now?
No, it's lowering your standards, because if I don't believe the fighter's going to win, I'll say, listen, go and retire. You know, or if you need to do it for money, then I'm not your man, because I'm not out to get you a living. I'm out to win world titles. I'm in boxing because to win, it's about winning for me. It isn't about earning a living. You can go and get a living with any backstreet gym. Go and turn professional somewhere else. I haven't got that time to waste. You know, so I'm only interested in guys who're severely talented and severely want to get to the top, you know, mentally and physically. So, you know, for me to get in and say, you know, give it your best shot, of course you can only say that and give it your best shot. But if a guy gets in there and he gets beat to a pulp, then quite obviously, forget living to fight another day, you know, It just depends. I don't see where they're going with it. Now, I don't mean that in the context of, say, when guys are really stepping up, like Liam Smith did with Canelo, because he can come another day, because these are elite fighters they're fighting.
Right.
So I'm not gauging it like that. I'm not gauging Amir Khan against Canelo. I'm not gauging Kell Brook against Golovkin. They're fighting super elite, every 100 years come around type of fighters. Mm-hmm. So this is understandable. Of course, these guys can come again. But if they're fighting and they're getting like, say, as soon as they step up, they're getting annihilated or whatever, then there's no point then. They're just this is a case where they can get hurt. So I think I would be saying, if you need the money, just get on and do it. But for me, I wouldn't continue down the path, no.
Peter, thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV.
You're welcome.
Appreciated.
Have a nice weekend when it comes.
I will
Don't
do.
forget
Thank
to
you,
hit that
Peter.
subscribe button. It's Ingram Jones from Bayloric TV. We're out. Take care.